Under Kathleen Kennedy, Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny has finally reached its last insult. Let's talk about that on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell. Good morning to you all. I am an investigative reporter from That Park Place, and with me is my Wookiee co-pilot, Vash Sky.
Well, Wookiee co-pilot to, your Harrison Ford? Indiana Jones? Maybe I'm short round this time.
Maybe. I've always wanted to be Lando. He's the coolest cat in the entire galaxy.
That's right. He is. Up until Solo. Then it got a little weird, but still cool.
Yeah, it did get a little weird there. I do like Donald Glover, but let's move on from that. Even though Phoebe Waller-Bridge did feature in that film as well, which might have been what got her the job on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which some people refuse to admit that film exists, but before we get to that, let's talk about why Indiana Jones is in the news today. Vash, what's going on, man?
Well, I think Bethesda was part of Microsoft's Xbox panel recently, or Xbox conference or so, and they revealed some gameplay footage for their upcoming Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Odd name, I think. But
it's the greatest circle that's ever existed. It's going to be huge. It's the largest circle you can imagine.
The largest circle. I love it right there.
All the other circles are losers.
Yes. Losers. Not even second place. Last.
Why are we playing with this fire on YouTube? Go ahead,
I know. Hey, you went there. But hey, we're going to be playing with more fire. If you liked Lando's interpretation from Solo, and if you like the modern interpretations of all of our characters coming back for the modern era right here, well, guess what? Bethesda, they've got a little something for you in this Great Circle reveal right here, which I'll play right now.
Now we have the opportunity to tell a new Indiana Jones story for a modern gaming audience.
Oh my.
Oh yes.
Oh my.
The modern gaming audience right here.
I've always been of that inclination to never judge a book by its cover. But it has been said that you can read some of the signals here. A couple of things that I happen to notice. This guy over here with this yellow shirt, he looks awful shifty to me. And that's, that's pretty much the only thing that sticks out to me in this picture. Vash, have you noticed any other details?
Well, yeah, we can read that. We can try to read that whiteboard over there, but not much. Other than maybe the fact that the Bethesda logo has taken on a type of rainbow on his shirt right there, and that
he does have the official haircut of the message there, doesn't he?
It fits the profile, I'll put it that way, of some of the people that we've been hearing about associated with Bethesda in the past. Modern audiences, and people were quick to note that even the gameplay trailer that they recently released for the Great Circle featured some characters that they took on a little bit more of a modern aesthetic, let's say, than the 1930s aesthetic that the films were, I wouldn't say completely faithful to, but more faithful to than this interpretation. Very, very interesting choices coming out of Bethesda right here, but even more interesting out of Disney when it came to not only the production of the latest style of Destiny, but also some merchandise choices, distribution choices, and putting that thing on streaming. Jonas, do you have more for us?
Yeah. Oh, yes, I do. We need to talk about what has been going on with the streaming figures, because Indiana Jones didn't make headlines in the way that we were kind of hoping they would. Let's just take a look over here. Indiana Jones and the Dial of the Destiny. When it hit streaming charts, it premiered at number 4 on the overall streaming charts, which sounds pretty good until you compare it to other things. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny coming in at number 4 with 535 million watch minutes. This is a lag metric, so it comes out 4 to 6 weeks after the fact. So this is why we're talking about it today instead of December 1st. It looks like this movie, just some points of comparison here. Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, that was at 766 million watch minutes. It premiered at number 5, but outclassed. This is one of those weeks where even the number 10 spot would have outclassed most of the items on the December 1st week. Also, looking at the next week, it looked like it went down to 498 million watch minutes. So this escaped my attention because Well, nobody watched it. Nobody watched it. Nobody talked about it. Elf almost beat it down here. The Super Mario Brothers movie, which is on Netflix and Peacock at this point, although I think it might have only been on Peacock at the point that this released. It's a bit of a cringe thing here to watch, but keep that number in your mind of 535 and
Right.
498. And Vash, I'm going to ask you, do you think that Peter and Wendy, when it came out, was a more culturally significant film than Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it barely, it barely even, approach any kind of virality on social media. I mean, it went with a whimper. So
Right,
I wouldn't
right.
think so. No.
To the point where Disney even tested out blocking people's commentary on the trailers for Peter and Wendy. But if we go over to Samba TV, which we don't usually use Samba TV unless we are comparing Samba numbers to Samba numbers,
Sure.
it looks like if you add about half of the viewership on Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny to Peter and Wendy, you get the numbers for Peter and Wendy. I mean, sorry, it's almost 50% more. I'm not going to go through the math because we can clearly see apples to apples here.
Sure.
Peter and Wendy outclassed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And again, putting another figure in you guys' heads here for what we've all acknowledged is not a streaming success. Iman Vellani, gotta love her, but Miss Marvel outclassed Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny on streaming as well.
Wow. So for the people who say, well, these things are going to be super big hits when these things come out on Disney Plus, you don't understand, Jonas. You see, people are putting off theatrical runs for these things in order to watch these on streaming in their own homes. Well, it turns out that might not exactly be true.
Right. And
those are going to be the same people who say, oh, Peter Pan, well, it didn't get a theatrical release. There you go.
Right. So these are the Samba TV figures from those 2 weeks as well. As you can see, the Great British Baking Show season 11, the Bad Guys, A Very Bad Holiday. That is the direct to streaming sequel to Bad Guys that doesn't have the original cast voicing those parts. That also beat it. I'm if I'm not getting this point across, this movie did not do well on streaming.
No, not at all. And we to compare it to some of the other films that have been released over the last year or so, it didn't even perform up to those metrics. Is that correct?
Correct. And I'm surprised here as we're watching some of the stinkers that we know that have come out of Disney this year. I am shocked that you can take a movie starring Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, one of the most iconic film trilogies that has ever existed, and also John Williams doing the score, the most amazing film composer that has ever lived. And I will fight you if you want to define me on that. That's fine. We can have an excellent conversation on that. Even putting all of those attributes together, you can't get people to basically turn over and watch it for no extra cost.
And this is, directed by James Mangold. A lot of people said, oh, yeah, Steven Spielberg's involved behind the scenes. It's going to be this huge hit, this huge cultural phenomenon. We're going to reawaken Indiana Jones. And not only did it not perform at the theatrical box office, which, that's been the case for quite some time, but people have been saying, oh, well, just wait until it comes out in streaming. And it didn't perform there either.
Right.
It is remarkable.
We were thinking, me and Pro, when we were talking about this, we were thinking that the fact that the Blu-ray doesn't even come out until December 9th or so, the fact that they put it on streaming was in order to just to the point where we thought maybe they were sabotaging the Blu-ray release in order to make sure that it didn't do well, in order to embarrass Kathleen Kennedy and maybe create a narrative in order to get her out of there, because that seems like self-sabotage. Any sane person would think that anyone interested in buying the Blu-ray or wanting to see it enough that they would buy the Blu-ray first and not have to wait till it comes on streaming, that they would want to buy it. But instead, came out on December 9th. And here's something that will surprise anyone who thinks like me. It will surprise, at least. If we go over to this website, Blu-ray.com, and they're tracking Blu-ray sales from December 3rd to December 9th, By the way, there's an interesting note in here about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. It got 174 million domestically and 383 million globally, but with the film's extremely high budget of almost 300 million, I'm hearing close to 350 million, but we will know better when the final UK tax documents finally come out sometime, I think this year. But I think that 300 million number is actually a bit low. If we look down here, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny did get the #1 spot for Blu-ray sellers the week of December 9th. Now, that being said, it did get beat out by Oppenheimer on the 4K list here for that same week. So I'm not sure what that says. It may be that Disney isn't known for doing a great job with their 4K releases, but there's at least this small victory here, even if it's overshadowed by Oppenheimer and Christopher Nolan coming in and becoming the destroyer of Indiana Jones worlds. He did hide in the fridge to protect himself there on the Blu-ray chart.
Well, hey, we heard a lot of press, I would say moderate amount of press, about the exclusive, the isolation track for John Williams' score to the film. So if you bought the Blu-ray, there was a special track in which it would only play the soundtrack as you watched the movie. That was an interesting technique right there. So it looks like that did, in combination with other things, did it up it to that top spot there, but didn't get the 4K slot, which is so coveted. Go ahead, Jonas.
I do believe that there was a black and white cut of Last Jedi that had John Williams' score on it as well, and I don't mind it. Yeah, give John Williams all the credit that he deserves. I mean, the man is a legend for good reason. So
hey, I do agree with you, but we're going to have to sell a lot of Blu-rays. We're going to have to get a lot of subscribers, and we're going to have to do a lot of work in order to restore the credibility of Indiana Jones going forward. I mean, I have it losing like $250 million at the box office when it was released right there. We now have this new video game coming out. Who knows how that will do? Modern audiences again, folks. So, let's go ahead and sign up for that. But the merchandise, a lot of people were actually saying on Twitter, hey, why isn't merch being produced for this stuff? And it's like, well, nobody saw the film, so why would we invest further into it?
Right, and Disney Parks did release what was essentially a ribbon dancer that looked kind of like a whip. And I'm not kidding when I say it was essentially a ribbon dancer. It was a handle that had a cloth ribbon, quote unquote, whip there. I can understand why they wouldn't want to sell an actual whip, but let's just try not to get anybody beat up on the playground if we can help it. I know bullying shouldn't be a thing, but let's not give them too much material to work with here, guys. All right. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in to this video and staying this far into it. If you did, maybe you would be one of those people that might be considering liking this video, if you like the video. And of course, share it out on social media if you know someone who is interested in all that happened with Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And of course, consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media accounts.